Hi, I'm Tom.
And I'm Jackie.
Welcome to the Self-Sufficient Mercantile.
Nothing fancy.
Just keeping it simple.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. So today we're going to be talking about tomatoes. We've been through seeding tomatoes in flats. We've been through transplanting those into larger pots. It's still too cold for us here in Southern California to transplant them out into the ground. We've had a really kind of a cool, wet winter. So we're probably going to do that maybe in 2 to 3 weeks. So what I thought I'd talk about today are some of the varieties that I grow every year that are my favorite varieties. And then I'm going to talk about some that I don't like. So if you're interested, stick around to see what I have to say. So, my top 3 favorite tomatoes are Green Zebra, which is this guy here. This is such a great tomato. If you like green tomatoes, or if you've never tried them, this is a good place to start. They do ripen a little bit yellow on the shoulders, but they have a really nice tang to them, which I like in tomatoes. I don't like bland tomatoes. So they are a more acidic tomato, I would say. Another one of my favorites is Dad Sunset. This is a beautiful yellow tomato. It ripens fairly early, but very consistent. I've really never had any problems with like blossom end rot or anything like that on this variety. So that's got to be another favorite. And they're kind of a mid-size. They're not huge. They're not small, but they're a great slicer. And then my last favorite one is Black Creme. If you've never grown the dark tomatoes, this is a great variety. I've grown this one for years. It's just tasty. It's kind of smoky. They say complex, you know, when they're describing them in catalogs, complex flavor, but really, really yummy. And I don't have any, I have maybe a little bit of splitting on these if they tend to get too much water, but nothing outrageous. So this is a great variety to grow too. So those are my top 3 that I grow every year. Another one that I do every year is a paste tomato, and I do the San Marzanos. I do a lot of canning of tomatoes, and so I like something that doesn't have a lot of seed and doesn't have a lot of juice. And I find that the San Marzanos are probably my favorite. I've grown the Amish Paste, and they are a little bit more juicy, so you have to cook them down to kind of get them to be thicker. So those are my go-tos every year. If you've never grown them, you might want to try them. Now, I do grow a ton of tomatoes every year. So those are ones, if I had to pick, you know, if I was limited in what I could grow, those would be my go-tos. Other ones that I do grow every year also are pineapple. This is a nice bicolor, so it's yellow and red. Not really striped, but kind of mottled. So when you cut it open, it's got a lot of red in there, and it's really juicy, a nice big tomato. So that's a nice one for sandwiches. And then the other one is kind of along the lines of that Black Creme. This is the Cherokee Purple. And I'm sure that you guys have heard of this one. It's very commonly grown. A lot of people find that this is their favorite dark tomato. I like the Black Creme, but I also like these. So I do grow these as well. So every year I try different varieties because there are always new varieties out there to try. And most of my seeds I get from Baker Creek Seed. I just like the quality of their seeds. I like the selection. If you've ever seen their catalog, it's just amazing. So this year I'm trying a couple new ones that I'm excited about. This is called Bread and Salt. And to me this just sounds yummy because all you need is a piece of bread and some salt and there's a meal. So this guy, I'm excited about this one. And I'll let you know what I think of it towards the end of the season or once we get some fruit. And then I love green tomatoes, so I'm trying another one this year. This is Lucky Tiger. This is more of a paste tomato shape or maybe a long pear tomato. Not really a pear, but more like a paste shape. Green and red. So I don't know. I don't know anything about this one. This is going to be a first year for this one. And I have had some difficulty sometimes on those kind of elongated fruits like the San Marzano, but in different colors. This year I'm growing another one, Orange Icicle. I don't have the pack here to show you. I tend to get some blossom end rot on those, so I'm curious to see if I get that this year or not, but I'll keep you posted on that as well. So, and I wanted to show you guys this. These are some of the tomatoes here that we transplanted into 6 packs a couple of weeks ago. You know, they are basically just sitting here. It has been such a cool, wet spring. I've had them in our little greenhouse. It's not really heated, and it's not ventilated other than, you know, side windows that we can open up. So they don't stay the warmest at night, and I think that's kind of what set them back. I would say we're about 2 to 3 weeks behind last year as far as, you know, our schedule planting-wise. But, you know, every year is different, and you just kind of have to roll with the punches. So if you guys are starting out gardening and maybe you've started your seeds and you're thinking, gosh, they're really not doing anything, you know, don't give up hope. A lot of it is just, we need more sun. These guys need more sun, and they need warmth to really get going. So the last thing I want to talk about are tomato varieties that I've grown in the past. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them, but I personally don't like them. This is one of them. Costa Ludo Fiorentino. I guess that's how you say that. It looks just so pretty, like fluted. It just looks like a really beautiful tomato. It is neat looking, but I found growing this that the skin was really tough on them, and they were a little dry inside, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but to me this is not one I would choose to grow again. Another one is the white Thomasol. I grew this last year. It's a Baker Creek. You know, it's not bad, but I think the lighter skinned tomatoes and the lighter color tend to be a little bit less acidic, and this might be great for people that can't handle the acid that's in the tomatoes. It's a little bit too bland for me, but it's a pretty tomato. I do have to say that. And then the last one, this looks like it would be a great one, Dr. Whity Yellow. You know, it kind of reminds me of the pineapple, but doesn't have the bicolor. I found that these fruits were a little small, and maybe I did something wrong. I don't know, because they're supposed to be 1 pound fruits. I've never gotten them to get that big. And again, the flavor was average to me. But, you know, like I said, I tend to like tomatoes that have a little more tang to them. So maybe these are some of your favorite tomatoes. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. It's just personal preference. I don't prefer them. So just a couple other things about tomatoes. There are different varieties, growing styles. So like the San Marzanos and a lot of the paste tomatoes will be more determinate. Determinate means that they're more, like they're shorter and bushier, and usually you get all the fruit at one time, which is great for paste tomatoes because these are the guys we're using for canning. So we don't want to have just 3 this week and 3 next week. We want kind of all of them at the same time so we can do what we need to do. Most of the varieties that I grow are indeterminate, which means they're very viney, they're very tall, so they're going to need some support. And what we're going to be doing this year, I will be growing some in tomato cages. We will be staking them and growing like a single stem. We've done that in the past, and I just want to do it again to show you guys kind of the difference of them. And then another thing, a lot of times what we do is just use like wooden stakes down the row, and then use some baling twine or something like that just to kind of keep them together on the row. So anyway, these are just some thoughts on tomatoes today. We're looking forward to the sunshine. I'm sure that you guys that live in the north or in the colder countries are looking forward to the sun in the spring as well. So we will keep you posted once we get these guys in the ground. We'll do a video on transplanting them and what we do and how we do that. Other than that, I think that's it for today. I'm sure you can see behind me, this is our nectarine tree blooming. So things are thinking it's spring, and pretty soon here, hopefully, we'll get some warm weather and some fruit. So thanks for joining us today. I hope you learned something. I'd love to hear what your favorite tomato varieties are, because maybe there's some out there that I should be growing that I don't know about yet. If you like content like this, we just ask that you consider subscribing, hit the like button, and we'll see you next time. Bye.